Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra, Kaye, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, also known as the Black Yule Brenner. You might want to get a little sun on that. But nevertheless, the purpose of the Demetra Kaye Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. We are not live, but we'll be live later at 5 p.m. Central Time, so make sure you come on back for that. Today, we are going to be talking about Kamala Harris's new plan for the Black man. She came out with it yesterday. It seems like out of nowhere. I logged on to social media and people were talking about this plan, and Donovan and I are going to get into it. And, you know, Donovan's a Black man, so I think he'd be better to speak to whether it worked. Is he going to fall for it, or does he like it? You know, whatever the case is. And so anyway, Donovan, what say you before we get started?
What say me is, you guys, welcome to the podcast. Great to have you guys back. Again, these podcasts and video casts, they do take time and effort to make. So if you would like to make a donation, we have a scrolling banner at the bottom. You can donate by Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, cash, money order. We take it all. It's all great. It encourages the content creator to continue to have these great conversations. Do us a favor. We got 3 weeks out till the election. We don't care how you vote. You vote your interests. We don't care. You know, make sure, you know, whatever, even if you don't vote, that's fine too. But please register to vote. It is that important. We're not telling you you have to vote, but register to vote, because when this election is over, they are going to do an autopsy. And that autopsy is going to show who did what, who voted what, and why, and all this other stuff. So please register to vote. Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green Party, Libertarian, it doesn't matter. Register to vote. Also, do not forget to download the African Diaspora News Channel app. You can get it on Google Play and the Apple Store. And that way you can continue to get great videos from Brother Phil Scott, Demetra Kaye, Vicky Dillard, and a host of producers in the African diaspora that talk about all types of stuff that's going on. Let's get real. There's rumors of war. And there's wars, and there's rumors of wars, and there's a lot of stuff going on in Africa with those resources that they found in Uganda and other places. And there's a lot of shenanigans going on. And what happens over there? We are in a global economy, not a local economy. We're in a global economy. So what happens over there does affect us. As you guys do realize, they have sent United States troops to the Middle East once again. So be prepared. So, Demetra?
Absolutely. Thank you, Donovan. Okay, so again, Kamala Harris, who, if you guys don't know, is running for the presidency of the United States. As Donovan said, is in like 3 weeks. And so there's this hot race between her and former President Donald Trump to the White House. Some polls said that they're neck and neck. Some say she's ahead. So it just depends on who you believe. But again, we know polls can sometimes be wrong, and we'll know when we know. But of course, Kamala Harris has been struggling more so than her predecessors with the Black vote, specifically that of Black men. Of course, not too long ago, you had former President Barack Obama, who was stomping for her in Pennsylvania. After, I guess, or before he spoke, he gave a harsh admonishment to Black men, brothers, as he said, to go tell your cousin Pookie and them, you know, about voting for Kamala. He also said that it was misogyny, for lack of better words, that Black men did not want to vote for a woman. And he's kind of shocked that people aren't turning out for her like they did for him, right? So with that, it was the equivalent of stepping on a beehive in a crowded mall, right? A lot of people, not just Black men, but Black women too, were pretty mad about that. Like, how dare you chastise Black men who vote lockstep for the most part with Black women. And there's also a known fact that Black men vote for the Democratic candidate more so than any other man. Whether it's Hispanic, it's usually like 50-50, and, you know, give or take from, you know, the other races, they don't vote as much as the Black man, but somehow the Black man got dragged by Obama and a whole bunch of other people, to be honest with you, a lot of celebrities, a lot of, you know, sisters, who are mad that Black men just won't continue signing up for more of nothing. But, you know, there's a lot of Black women who have said the same thing, like, nah, I ain't going to do it, right? So I just said, too, that if the election were held today, and this is a poll that was taken a couple of weeks ago, that 1 in 4 Black men under the age of 50 would vote for Trump, which, you know, is significant, right? Because the Democratic Party is used to having the black voter, and some are saying that black voters are starting to go elsewhere, whether it's Trump, Green Party, Cornell, whoever else, right? That's where they're going. Said that if the election was held today, that Kamala Harris can get anywhere between 77 and 83, 84-ish% of the black vote, which is still significantly lower if you listen to Obama than what he got both times that he was running. So to Kamala Harris's plan for the black man, I don't know if that's the name of it, but that's easy for me to remember. A couple of things. It says Kamala Harris's new opportunity agenda for black men aims to enhance economic opportunities and address systemic issues affecting black men. Key element of the plan include forgivable loans up to $20,000 for historically disadvantaged entrepreneurs, plus expanded tax credit for startup businesses. Also says job access apprenticeship program, removing degree requirements for federal jobs and promoting black men in education, marijuana legalization, economic opportunities in the cannabis industry, health equity initiatives addressing diseases like sickle cell and lowering prescription costs. Also says these measures aim to reduce disparities in economic, health, and criminal justice systems. Okay, and that's just kind of it in a nutshell. Of course, if you read it, it'll get a little bit more into it. And so, Donovan, with all that being said, and you being a black man, how do you feel about Kamala's new plan for the black man? Now, obviously, she's trying to win black male voters back. Are you won over?
Well, I'm going to say this. I am not won over, and I'm going to say why. I'm an absentee voter because I was former military. So I've already voted. So she's little too late in regards to how I would vote if you're an absentee voter like me. Yeah, I've already cast my mind. My mind has already been made up. She should have put this plan out from the very beginning. And I have to question her campaign team in what they're doing. Number one, she thumbed her nose at the American people by refusing to do interviews from the very beginning. And this plan, if you guys look at it, there's a key word, there's several key words in this plan. Number one, let me step to the side here, Demetra, real quick. I'm still waiting for the Biden-Harris administration to stand next to me as we stood next to them, even though I didn't vote for them, but as black people in general, to get something. LGBTQ got something. The Asians got something, plus $26 billion. Everybody else is waiting. And Demetra, you remember I had people on my page talk about, well, man, he just got in there. Give him some time. It's been going on 4 years, and we have not gotten nothing from this administration. So now here it is. Joe Biden has bowed out. She has stabbed him in the back, in my opinion, because she's supposed to be a ride or die. She stabbed him in the back and took a selection which is anti-democratic because nobody voted for her. Say what you want about Joe Biden. He got 4 million votes in the primary. Nobody voted for this woman. So to me, she's an illegitimate candidate. And there's a possibility she could win. If she wins, she's an illegitimate president because nobody voted for her. There was no primary. So my point is this. She thumbed their nose, refused to do this. I don't have to talk to them. She didn't say that. But basically, by not talking to us and answering questions, nobody knows who she is. She's an empty suit. And us being from California, we knew. Okay? The same playbook that she had here in California, she has done and fooled a lot of people across the nation. But here's the problem with what she put out. Here's the problem. It's another everybody situation. And the key word is that in there, and others. And others could be all women, Asian, Latin, white, black, whatever. It could be LGBTQ. It could be white men in certain things. I'm a trans man, this, that, whatever the deal is. So how is this bill specific to black men? It isn't. This bill and that part about the money, Demetra, isn't the SBA similar to what this thing is? Can't you do the same thing with the SBA?
Well, per the plan, they're supposed to be working in tandem with the SBA. Exactly.
So basically, I can just go to the SBA and get the same type result. Once again, she's copying and pasting things at the last minute. There is nothing in there that is specific to Black people. And let me tell you something, as a Black man, I'm not a business person. I'm more of an investing type person. People, a tax credit could only be utilized after you've established a business. Okay, so in that aspect of what she's asking. So if I don't have money to start a business, how am I going to get the tax credit? According to her. Okay, so you got to have a startup. You got to have money to start a business, to establish it. And then if you do get the tax credit, it won't happen until the next tax year. Common sense. And last but not least, I'm offended that every issue when it comes to the Black community and Black men is weed or drugs or crime. I'm very offended by that. Because even if you Demetra, what is she saying? That only Black men will be allowed to walk around here and smoke weed while everybody else doesn't get that, they don't get that right? It's total BS, but I'm offended at the fact that Black people are always associated with some type of criminality. And by the way, didn't she lock up 1,800, 1,900 Black and brown people in California alone based on weed convictions? And now all of a sudden she's for weed and cannabis and legalizing that? And even if she does legalize it, it's only at the federal level. Most Black people and most citizens don't deal with federal authorities at a level of the federal government. We're under the jurisdiction of the state and local governments. So I'm offended. I think this is once again, another cut and paste and just throw something at them and hopefully it'll work. But I'm offended at the fact that you're telling us this is for Black men when everything in this plan is an everybody plan. And we know that when everybody's invited, Black people are the least to benefit.
Absolutely. And I was just looking at something, but per your point, so I just kind of want to go over just real quick the bullet points. So I think you did a good job with the forgivable loans, whatever. It's like, but all the hell that the Black man in America has been through, he can get a loan for $20,000. We know it costs more than $20,000 to start a business. Most businesses do not last past the first 2-3 years, right? Because it just takes a while sometimes, depending on what kind of business you have, to get up and running. So a lot of people end up going out of business and going into debt. So $20,000, that may be, it doesn't say it will be, it says it can. That's the verbiage. It can be forgiven. So will it? I don't know, right? I'd imagine there's an application process you have to go through and see if they'll let you do it. As far as this apprenticeship program, removing degree requirements for federal jobs and promoting Black men in education, you should have been did that, but that doesn't guarantee that if you remove those requirements that those Black men will be hired. What about, giving reparations so Black men could not work if they don't want to, or they could start businesses, right? But again, that's that, you can go work for the man, right? The Black man is never fully going to be independent. And this comes from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Farrakhan, Marcus Garvey, and everybody else. Work for self, do for self. But her legislation still has the Black man tied to a clock. Tied to a massa, because I don't care. And I'm not knocking nobody. Listen, if I had to go punch a clock right now, you could best believe Demetra Kaye would be punching the clock. If you don't see me on here at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it's probably because I'm working somewhere. So I'm not saying nothing about that. But what I'm saying is the Black man needs another more opportunity to do what he was doing after slavery, right? Building all these Wall Streets and Rosewoods and the Allentowns and all these other things. But to tie him to a job that he may not get, I don't like it. Now the marijuana legalization thing, economic opportunities in the cannabis industry. If you know anything about it, it costs, I know in California did just $26,000 for the application fee that you may not get back, right? So you talk about these opportunities. Why? Are you saying that the Black man needs an opportunity to sell weed? Now listen, he's been doing that before you gave him a permission to do it. Let's keep it a buck, right? But nevertheless, that's how you see the Black man. Well, we'll allow you to do some drugs, and if you know anything about marijuana, and I don't, but I've read and I've heard a lot about it because I've never done it, is that it's not what we should be doing, right? Black people don't need nothing else to keep us motionless, right? But out of all things, but if Kamala really wanted to do something, she could have went next door, Hey, Biden, you know those crime bills that you said you were so proud of, the 86 and 88? Y'all could go ahead and overturn those because those have not been overturned, which in a lot of cases, the judges' hands are tied, right? They have to administer mandatory minimums. But when Donald Trump came into office, he created the First Step Act that was passed by bipartisanship, if you will, that gives judges a little bit more leeway in addition to allowing non-violent drug offenders, if you will, to be freed. And he actually freed a few of them who were Black. I'm just putting it out there. It's not my opinion, it's facts. Don't argue with me, argue with your mama, okay? The other thing is health equity initiatives addressing diseases like sickle cell and lowering prescription costs. Well, you know, one of the main reasons that Black men check on out of here early is stress. And that stress comes from not making enough money, not being able to take care of his family, you know, having to shuck and jive to put two pieces of bread together to make something out of it. That also comes from a lot of Black men having stuff on their records due to these marijuana and crack and cocaine disparities and all these other things. And so he is stressed because he cannot do, in a lot of cases, what other men have the opportunity to do, right? So, and also, you know, a lot of Black men live where there's food deserts and a whole host of other things. And like Donovan said, this stuff is not exclusive to just Black men, because Donovan, I saw on your post when you talked about it, a white man said, oh, this is going to open up for a lawsuit. So they already gearing up. When I say they, you know who I mean. They already gearing up to see how they can sue. Sound like Edward Blum, right? The dude that's running around there with the Asians, dismantling affirmative action, the educational opponent, went after those Black women and the Fearless Fund and a whole host of other things. That's what they're going to do. So it's a nothing burger, right? But more importantly, I think we, especially us in new Black media and those who are not in media, but Black people who are woke in every sense of the word, we have gotten good at deciphering smoke and mirrors. We've gotten good at saying, nice try, okay? Because if that's what you wanted to do, Kamala has helped the Black man. Now, again, that criticism comes from her harming the Black man. And I don't care what you say. Go look it up. Argue with your mama, not me. I got to keep saying it because I know there's going to be somebody to jump on here. Well, I ain't got time for it, okay? We got 3 weeks to election to wake people up, okay? So if she wanted to do it, go do it. Don't wait till you get in office because you said on The View, Kamala, oh, I don't know. I wouldn't do anything different than Biden. So if y'all not going to do nothing different, then he should be on board with signing this Black man plan so that you can get in office. And again, I think there's a lot of people who would like to vote for Kamala, but they ain't got a reason to. But I said on the strength of her lying on people that she harmed, saying she didn't harm them, I cannot vote for Kamala. I cannot do it. Donovan?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing for me. People think, oh, you know, you don't like her because she's a woman, misogyny. No, this has nothing to do with it. I firmly believe she is not qualified to be on the world stage. We can see it through the interviews. We can see it through her history. She has no history of accomplishments other than locking up, fabricating evidence, hiding evidence. I mean, everything detrimental to Black people. And also for me, I have questions of her lineage. I think I have a right to know, is this a Black woman or is it a white woman? Because for me, just me, Donovan Sadiq, that is something I need to know. Because if you're going to lie on your heritage, what else are you lying about? So again, I don't think she's a credible candidate. She's not qualified. If you look at her history, she has been appointed and put in certain positions, and there have been better qualified people and women, if we're going to be specific, women that have worked 15, 20 years in politics or whatever, attorney, whatever, and this woman jumped the line because she was with the right person at the right time. However you want to take it, you can take it, but the facts are the facts. This woman, in my opinion, she's just not qualified to be where she's at. And again, Demetra and I have been doing this show for at least 8 years. If I took over Demetra's show and, you know, pushed her to the side, whatever the deal is, I'm supposed to ride or die with this show, period. Or if I'm going to bow out and say, hey, I got other things I want to do, give her the courtesy of doing that. This woman took the selection from donors. She wasn't even elected. So again, people are going to vote for who they want to vote, but please stop talking about democracy's at stake because Trump is running and Trump is this. If you don't have a problem with her not getting one vote from the electorate, don't worry about Donald Trump. Don't worry about Donald. I don't want to hear anything about Donald Trump, and democracy's on the line because we didn't get democracy by putting this woman up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The democracy was definitely stolen from people. There was no primary for her. She just walked right on in there. And every time anybody asked her about it, you know, she says, well, the electorates, the delegates. It's like, okay, ma'am. But see, she knows that a lot of people don't know how that works, right? Joe Biden was primary, which means each individual person in each individual state decided if they wanted to vote for him or not. That's not how it worked with Kamala. So, yeah, there's no democracy. They're hypocrites is what they are. Right. But the other thing, too, is I don't know if y'all know that Kamala went on to Roland Martin's show yesterday and conducted an interview. And it was really it wasn't even softball. It was tissue paper. OK, it was a tissue paper interview where, you know, that he was feeding her the answers. So if you go watch it, the answers were in the questions, you know, like the one of the first things he asked her, I think it was the first thing is, well, there's this, you know, people keep posting this viral clip of you saying, basically, and I'm paraphrasing, you're not for reparations, but what they don't play is the rest of it, where you say anything that you do for Black people will benefit all people. And I play that part, right? I do play that part. And she goes, exactly. And, you know, she says something real kind of funky, or whatever the case is, but it's like he's feeding her the answers. And as you're watching the interview, it's like, this is just the same old Roland. You know, he's supposed to, and this is why I say Roland is foul and funky. Another thing I'm mad about too is I watched that interview and that introduction, Roland, I was like, why do that to us? You run around
nice and moist, nice and moist.
You said it, I didn't. But you're rolling around, you know, dancing. It's like, what the hell is this? But anyway, I digress. Right. But like the whole damn introduction, you know. But the other thing is, anybody else come on his show, he cussing them out, screaming over him and talking crazy, dragging them here and dragging them there. But she get on there and he's on his best behavior. But again, he didn't ask her nothing different. He didn't say nothing different. It's like, and when I watched it, it was like it had aired 11 hours prior to the time I watched it, had about 50,000 views. And I'm like, well, that's kind of odd, unless he posted it another time somewhere else, because you would think that people would be flocking to the interview to watch, like it'd be a million. Now, I don't know, maybe it is now. I haven't seen, but I think what it is people are just fatigued, because even the babies know what Kamala's gonna say. Oh, well, my mom was a single woman. Oh, you know, and she pretty much said the same stuff, right? But yes, shame on Roland, who was, you know, supposed to be the voice of Black America, which I don't even know who gave him that title, but he ain't do nothing. Now, again, Kamala's supposed to sit down with Charlamagne the God today, I think at 4 p.m. Eastern time, I think, iHeartRadio, something like that. And Charlamagne was asking his viewers, what do you want us to ask? And it's like, you ain't going to ask the stuff people telling you to ask, so why are you playing games? But then again, I don't know. Charlamagne is, you know, he kind of different, so maybe he will. That remains to be seen. But I say all that to say, here we are in, you know, the close to the midnight hour, if you will, and Kamala's still trying to find her footing. And I think one of her major problems is she waited too late to interview. She waited too late, and it's too late to self-correct, right? If she would have got out there early, and she's going to also interview with Brett Breyer, I think his name is, on Fox News tomorrow. So I think that one's going to be really interesting. Now what people will watch, because Fox News, something tells me they're going to ask the questions that everybody else is not asking. Kamala, you said that America is not racist. Do you still believe that? See, that's what I would ask her. You know, you run around calling Trump racist and things like that. So I would ask her stuff like that. But she waited too late to interview. And it's too late to correct. Again, having Obama come out there and say the stuff he did, that I think that probably was one nail. I don't know if it was the final nail, but it was definitely a nail in the coffin of Kamala Harris's campaign.
Yeah. Also, she interviewed with the Shade Room, and they had asked her, and the Shade Room's kind of.
And again, the Shade Room is ran by a Nigerian woman.
Yeah. And the thing is, for a presidential candidate to go on these podcasts that are very questionable, Howard Stern, Call Me Daddy, it's like, what person of respectability would go on these type of platforms? Because you're going to be dealing with world issues and things, you know what I mean? But anyway, she went on the Shade Room, and they asked her once again a simple question, and I was middle class, blah 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 blah. The same old answer. My mother raised me and my sister, whatever it is. You got two parents that are PhDs. You're not middle class. Number one, you weren't raised in Oakland. You were raised predominantly in Canada. Let's just get, all this stuff is out there. Do your homework on that. But I want to ask you this, Demetra, before we get out of here. As this campaign, you've watched her campaign for president as she was selected. What advice would you give Kamala Harris in regards to the mistakes she's made and what she should have done to right the ship? Because again, at this point, with 3 weeks to go, when you are doing what you're doing in the last 3 weeks, she must have saw something in there that shows that she's in trouble. She's talking about, I released my medical records and he won't do his. He won't even debate me a second time. He won't do this. Doing this stuff, at this point, Trump knows he doesn't have to do anything because he has been campaigning. People know who he is. People know what he stands for. So what advice would you give her? Because whoever's now, now she's growing a pair. Now she's trying to grow a pair with 3 weeks to go. What advice would you give her in regards to your knowledge of politics?
The advice I would give her is talk about the stuff that people want to talk about. We don't care about the last time you had a pap smear or you wearing contacts or any of that other stuff. Because on one hand, y'all talk about the government need to stay out of women's business. There's no room in the doctor's office for the doctor, the woman, and the government. But yet you releasing your medical makeup or whatever, talking about Trump won't release his. Why does he have to release his? I get it if that's something they want to do. But to use that as, it must be something wrong with him. It might be, but that ain't your business, right? It matters if that was somebody was doing that to Hillary. Show us your medical records. Or what if somebody asked Kamala, show us your medical records. Everybody has a right to privacy and all this other stuff, right? And then, like you said, too, she's trying to bully him into another debate with him. But it's like, why? And I'm sorry, I'm freezing up, y'all. But why I need to have a debate with you? For what? She needs the debate. He doesn't need the debate. And of course, on Roland, she was talking about how he won't go on the CBS and do his interview. Has never been done in the 50-year history of presidential candidates interviewing with CBS. And it's like, I think the media has been proven to be on your side, Kamala. So why would he go do that, right? But nevertheless, the advice I would give for her, as I said, talk about the stuff people want to talk about. Stop talking about when my mama and then we was middle class and the labor's lawns. We don't give a damn. Because what happened when you was a kid ain't going to put no food on the table today for nobody, right? It's like you have these canned talking points. And my thing is, they've talked about it on SNL. They've talked about it everywhere that you're just, when my mama was a single mama, it's like, damn it. You know what I mean? And again, my advice for her would have been to get out there. Get out there early. That, you can't tell people you're ready for the job and then you're getting ready for the job by not doing these interviews, because that's what it was what we all knew, that she wasn't ready. She's probably preparing. And it's like, you did all that staving off these interviews for 2 months to do this. That's why I think the Fox News interview is probably going to be the most organic interview that she's going to have, because she's gone on these other ones. And I don't care if it's CNN, CBS, they all are in the can for Kamala. Let's just keep it a buck. But I think the Fox News one, and I say this too, go to your opponent first. Let them tear you out the frame early. Had she had gone to Fox News and The Hill and all these other right-wing publications and news, that's when she would have figured out what I need to do to self-correct, right? Get that over with early. Then you could coast and go to the easier interviews, but she needed to get out there and get beat up first, but she didn't do it. And now I fear, not that I care, but she's going to get out there with Fox News and get pulverized. And that's going to be her defining moment.
Absolutely. So again, 3 weeks out, you guys, we don't care how you vote your interests. But I will say this, Demetra, I am so glad if she does win, she had to work for it. She had to pull it out of the mud because it wasn't going to be given to her. Not on this level.
I totally agree, y'all. So we'll be back here at 5 p.m. Central Time, and we will be live. I don't know what we'll talk about because I haven't been checking the news. I've been busy. But nevertheless, y'all come back here. I'm sure it will be one for the record. So in the meantime, we love and appreciate everybody. Y'all have a great rest of your afternoon. See you this evening. Peace.